lesson, I'm going to teach you the different uses of like. Okay, so we start with the first use. Like basically means to enjoy something. This is the basic form of the verb. When you like something, you prefer something. So, or you enjoy something. For example, I like going to the cinema. So, enjoy going to the cinema to watch movies. So, like. That's your basic verb or the basic form. In my next example, I like to watch the latest movies. Again, it's something that I enjoy doing. So, I like to watch the latest movies. Okay. The next condition, we use like to. Now, to is followed. To follows like when you want to say something that is a good idea, but it need not be pleasant all the time. So, sometimes it is unpleasant, but yet it is a good idea. For example, I like to visit the dentist every 6 months. Well, I'm sure nobody likes to go to the dentist. It's quite painful their treatments. But yes, to get a regular checkup, I like to visit. So, the idea of going to the dentist is good, but though it's very unpleasant. Okay. Now friends, please remember, when you use like to, the verb that follows is always in the present form. Like I cannot say I like to visited, that is wrong. So I like to visit, always in the base form or the present form. This is something very important that you need to keep in mind. In my next example, I like to work out at the gym. Well, it's a good idea to go to the gym, but you have to work out really hard. So I like to work out at the gym. Again, the verb is in the present form. Okay, so I like to always followed by a verb in the present form. I'm going to take you through few more uses of like. Okay, so now let's take a look how to use would like to. Now we use would like to when you want to make a polite request or an offer. For example, would you like to meet tomorrow? Now you can even say, can you meet tomorrow or will you meet tomorrow? But when you want to be more polite or put in a polite offer, you say, would you like to meet tomorrow? In my next example, I would like to know your opinion. Now I can even say I want to know your opinion. But again, when you want to be more polite, you say, I would like to know your opinion. So I hope this is clear to you. You use would you like to when you make a polite request or an offer. For example, you go to a restaurant and they ask you, would you like to have tea or coffee? So they can even say can you, but when they say would you like to, it's just being more polite. Here again we use like when you want to say something is similar or typical. Now when you're trying to link something or trying to say something is similar to this, you use like to, or when something is very typical in terms of the characteristic of a person. For example, it's just like him to be late always. So it's a typical characteristic of my friend to come late. So it's just like him. It's typically him to come late. Okay. In my next example, he looks like a model. Here I'm trying to say he looks similar to a model. So he looks like a model. I'm trying to link him in terms of his looks to a model. So he looks like a model. That means he looks similar to a model. So please remember, you use you use like when you want to say something is similar or typical to something. So now let's take a look at feel like. Now we use feel like when you have a desire, when you talk about a particular desire. For example, I feel like going on a vacation. So well, I want to go on a vacation, I desire to go on a vacation, I feel like going on a vacation. Now friends, please remember, when you use feel like, the following verb, what I mean to say is not a verb, actually you use a gerund. Now a gerund is nothing but a verb in the ing form, like going, coming, dancing, okay, and it is not a verb, so it's a gerund. So feel like is always and mainly followed by a gerund. Now let's take a look at the next example. I don't feel like studying. So this is something I desire. I don't want to study, so I don't desire to study. So this is in the negative. I don't feel like studying. Please notice again, feel like is followed by a gerund, that is the ing verb or known as the present participle. Okay. Now let's move on to the next condition. Now we use like when you want to replace it with something that is said. Now please remember, this is just colloquially, but when you write something formally, you will not use like over here. Okay. For example, I'm like, where is your brother? So I asked my friend, so I was like, where's your brother? So what I'm trying to say is, I asked, or I said to him, or I asked him, where is your brother? So I'm like, okay, and this is what he replied. He is like, I don't know. So he said, so again, he's like, I don't know. But please remember again, this is only when we speak informally or colloquially, not formally or not in your formal written English. Alright. Friends, this brings me to the end of this lesson. I hope you find this lesson useful. Please put in your comments and queries if any. I'll be back soon with a new lesson. Till then, take care and bye.